Army, Al Capone. You guys gonna get into the liquor business too?
Mr. Mayor, fellow members of the City Council, in less than 2 hours, liquor will be declared illegal by decree of the distinguished gentlemen of our nation's Congress.
When HBO's Boardwalk Empire premiered, viewers were transported to 1920s Atlantic City, a dazzling wonderland of vice, violence, and political corruption. But the real history behind this acclaimed series contains even more fascinating details than what made it to screen. Today, we're diving into 10 obscure, verified facts about Boardwalk Empire that even hardcore fans might have missed. 1. Scorsese's hat. Mistake. A detail that cost thousands. The pilot episode cost an astounding $18 million to produce, making it one of the most expensive episodes in television history. Despite this enormous budget and Martin Scorsese's legendary attention to detail, he still made a historical error that required expensive reshoots. Showrunner Terrence Winter noticed men were keeping their hats on indoors, a breach of 1920s social etiquette. Winter was initially too intimidated to correct Scorsese, but eventually mustered the courage. Remarkably, Scorsese didn't dismiss the concern but immediately ordered corrections, demonstrating the production's extraordinary commitment to historical accuracy. This seemingly small detail affected numerous scenes and cost the production thousands in additional filming, proving that even the masters can miss period-specific social customs. 2. The real Nucky never pulled the trigger. Steve Buscemi's Nucky Johnson personally executes several characters throughout the series, but court records and historical accounts confirm that the real Nucky Johnson never committed violence with his own hands. Instead, Johnson maintained power for over 30 years through a sophisticated system of political patronage. According to Department of Justice records, Johnson's operation collected precisely calibrated weekly payments: $1,200 from lottery operators, $160 from bookmakers, $350 from bingo halls, and $100 from each brothel. These weren't arbitrary shakedowns, but a systematized parallel tax structure, almost corporate in its efficiency. This reveals the show's most significant dramatic license, transforming a calculating political boss into a hands-on gangster willing to commit murder. 3rd, Richard Harrow's face came from a forgotten sculptor. Jack Huston's haunting portrayal of the half-masked veteran. Richard Harrow became one of the show's most memorable characters. What many viewers don't realize is that Harrow's distinctive tin mask was directly inspired by the pioneering work of Anna Coleman Watts-Ladd, a sculptor who created facial prosthetics for disfigured World War I veterans. From 1917 to 1919, Ladd's Paris studio created hundreds of copper masks, individually crafted and painted to match each soldier's skin tone. These masks were held in place by spectacles and painted with oils to withstand perspiration. Soldiers would often visit weekly for touch-ups as the paint wore off. Understanding this historical context reveals Harrow's character as more than just a fictional creation. He represents thousands of real veterans whose struggles were largely erased from popular history. 4. Michael Stolberg rewrote Rothstein. Historical crime dramas often rely on writers and researchers to shape characters, but for Arnold Rothstein, the process worked in reverse. Actor Michael Stolberg conducted such extensive independent research on the real bankroll that he fundamentally changed how the writers portrayed the character. Stolberg uncovered details about Rothstein's mannerisms, speech patterns, and business philosophy that weren't in the original scripts. His insights, from Rothstein's calculated sobriety to his obsession with clean hands, helped transform what could have been a stock gangster character into one of television's most nuanced portraits of criminal intelligence. This actor-driven character development is exceedingly rare in television production, where writers typically maintain tight control over character evolution. If you're fascinated by how real history shapes Hollywood crime stories, hit like and subscribe to Primetime Throwback. We've got wild truths behind Goodfellas and Donnie Brasco coming up that will change how you see those classics forever. 5. Esther Randolph was based on Prohibition's most feared prosecutor. The determined assistant U.S. attorney who prosecutes Nucky in Season 2 wasn't just a fictional creation. Court historians confirm her character was directly based on Mabel Walker Willebrandt, the second woman ever appointed as Assistant Attorney General and nicknamed Prohibition's Portia by the press of her day. Just like Randolph in the show, Willebrandt was consistently underestimated by her male colleagues despite her legal brilliance. What the show doesn't fully explore is her most lasting contribution to law enforcement. Willebrandt pioneered using tax evasion charges to bring down gangsters when prohibition violations proved too difficult to prosecute. The exact strategy that eventually took down both the fictional Thompson and the real-life Nucky Johnson, as well as Al Capone. The Emmy Mystery: Why the Cast Was Snubbed. Despite receiving 17 Emmy nominations for acting across its 5-season run, production records confirm only one performer won an acting Emmy: Bobby Cannavale for his role as Gyp Rossetti in Season 3. This statistic becomes even more striking when you consider that Boardwalk Empire did win 20 Emmy Awards overall, but almost all were in technical categories like cinematography, art direction, and costume design. This awards pattern reveals a curious Hollywood blind spot. The series premiered in 2010 during the height of the golden age of television and directly competed with Breaking Bad, Mad Men, and Game of Thrones. Despite its $18 million pilot and meticulously recreated world, Boardwalk Empire became an example of how even extraordinary period dramas can be overshadowed in a crowded television landscape, regardless of their historical significance or production quality. 7. A $28,000 train station kickback helped sink the Real Nucky. While the show depicts various corruption schemes, court documents reveal a specific payment that contributed to the Real Johnson's downfall. In 1934, federal prosecutors proved Nucky received $28,000, equivalent to over $500,000 today, in kickbacks from a contractor named Tony Miller for the Atlantic City train station construction project. This wasn't just another bribe. It became a crucial piece of evidence in the tax evasion case that eventually sent Johnson to federal prison in 1941. The Real Nucky, unlike his television counterpart, wasn't brought down by murder or bootlegging charges, but by the same financial crime that ended Al Capone's career. This historical detail underscores how Prohibition-era gangsters were ultimately vulnerable to the least glamorous of crimes, failing to report income to the IRS. 8. The National Mob Conference didn't happen. Not like that. One of the show's pivotal moments depicts a gathering of America's most powerful gangsters in Atlantic City, a meeting that supposedly established a nationwide criminal network. Historian David Pietrusa, who extensively researched this period for his book on early Mafia history, concludes that this famous 1929 Atlantic City convention has been significantly mythologized. Contemporary newspaper accounts described a much smaller meeting of Chicago gang leaders seeking neutral ground to negotiate peace among themselves, not the elaborate nationwide criminal summit it later became in popular culture. This embellishment shows how Boardwalk Empire, like many crime dramas, sometimes amplifies historical footnotes into major plot points, creating a more interconnected criminal world than actually existed. 9. The KK. Filming controversy. In Harlem, production records reveal one of the show's most uncomfortable filming decisions: shooting scenes featuring a Ku Klux Klan meeting in the heart of Harlem, a historically black neighborhood in New York City. This controversial choice caused significant tension among both the cast and local community members during filming. The production team had to navigate complex social dynamics of bringing such imagery into this community. Rather than using a soundstage or different location, producers chose authenticity over comfort, filming in real Harlem buildings from the era. This behind-the-scenes conflict illustrates how the show didn't just depict historical divisions. The making of Boardwalk Empire itself required confronting these painful legacies in real time, creating tensions that never made it to HBO's making-of documentaries. Bonus: Boardwalk Empire meets Sesame Street. In a remarkable cultural crossover, HBO's grittiest gangster drama received the children's television treatment. Sesame Street producers created a G-rated parody featuring ducks and chickens in a child-friendly version of the show. This unusual adaptation demonstrates Boardwalk Empire's cultural impact beyond adult audiences, reaching the unlikely territory of educational children's programming while sanitizing its mature themes for the preschool crowd. So, which of these obscure truths surprised you most? The Real Nucky's systematic taxation system? The forgotten sculptor behind Richard Harrow's mask? Or perhaps how Atlantic City operated as an entire government-sponsored smuggling operation? Drop a comment below with your favorite revelation. And don't forget, we're building out the full crime family tree behind The Sopranos next. Make sure you're subscribed to Primetime Throwback so you don't miss out on the hidden history behind your favorite crime classics.